Good evening and a very warm welcome. This is Primetime News on TV1. I'm Thiruni Karnaratna. We start off with a look at the headlines. Pope Francis laid to rest. Pakistan calls for international inquiry into Kashmir terror attack. President extends invitation to Sri Lankan community overseas. Siri Dalada Bandanava concludes tomorrow. Hundreds injured as massive explosion strikes Iran's port city. Pope Francis was laid to rest today, following a solemn funeral mass attended by thousands of mourners and dignitaries at the St. Peter's Square. The beloved pontiff, who led the Catholic Church for over a decade, was buried at the Basilica of St. Mary Major in Rome, honoring his personal wish for simplicity. He passed away on the 21st of April 2025 at the age of 88 after suffering a stroke and subsequent cardiac arrest.
The funeral service of Pope Francis at St. Peter's Square was presided over by Cardinal Giovanni. The Mass was attended by over 200,000 people, including heads of state, royalty and religious leaders from around the world. The Pope's coffin was carried to a church outside the Vatican at the end of the 90-minute funeral mass. In keeping with his wishes for simplicity, Pope Francis was laid to rest in a plain wooden coffin lined with zinc, foregoing the traditional triple coffin of cypress, lead and oak. Notable attendees included US President Donald Trump and his wife, former US President Joe Biden and his wife, French President Emmanuel Macron, British Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer and Prince William of the United Kingdom, and the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Italian President Sergio Mattarella, Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, Brazilian President Luiz Lula da Silva and many other heads of state were among those in attendance. Minister of Foreign Affairs Vijay Herath represented the government of Sri Lanka at the funeral of Pope Francis. Meanwhile, Archbishop of Colombo, His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit, along with a group of Catholic priests, attended the funeral service of the Pope. The Pope's coffin was carried to a church outside the Vatican at the end of the 90-minute funeral mass. The Pope's passing spurred a worldwide outpouring of grief, with as many as 250,000 people paying their respects. Following tradition, the Church will now observe a 9-day period of official mourning and prayer. Each day will feature special masses and reflections in honor of Pope Francis, concluding a final liturgical celebration marking the end of the mourning period. The Sri Lankan government also declared today as a day of mourning to coincide with the funeral of His Holiness Pope Francis.
On to news here at home. The Department of Examinations has announced that the results of the GCE Advanced Level Examination have been released. Candidates can now access their results by visiting the official website donuts.lk. Now, a total of 333,185 candidates sat for the Advanced Level Examination this year.
The local government election Sri Lanka 2025.
President Anurakumara Dissanayake has extended an invitation to Sri Lankans living abroad to return to the country and invest. He made this invitation while attending a public gathering held today in the Pudukudirippu area.
Another rally organized by the National People's Power in the lead-up to the local government election was held today in Pudukudirippu. It was held under the patronage of President Anurakumara Dissanayake.
We should win because after a long time our country has finally begun to move in the right direction. We must not allow this progress to be reversed. We fought wars in the north and south. Children and parents lost their lives. Even today, there are wives without husbands, parents without children, and families living with the pain of losing loved ones. It was the leaders of this country who dragged us into war. And what was left for us after it ended? Nothing. That is why we must unite. This country belongs to all of us. Each and every one of us must feel that this is our motherland. We are committed to creating the conditions for that. Together, we have planned a national celebration, a moment for all of us to come together. By October, we will hold a national cultural festival. Tamils, Sinhalese, Muslims, all of us will celebrate together. We have already allocated funds for this event. We have also great plans to build an international cricket stadium in Batiklo. In our first year in office, we aim to host an international cricket match there. Our national cricket team should represent all races in Sri Lanka. I know that many from this region live abroad and have built successful lives. We warmly encourage you to return, to invest and to help rebuild Sri Lanka. We are establishing an industrial zone in Mankulam and we invite you to invest in these new opportunities. No matter where you live now, this will always be your birth country. We invite the diaspora to join hands with us in building a better future. Throughout my political career, I have mainly worked with the Sinhala community and I speak Sinhala. Yet you have placed your trust in me. Even though many of you may not speak my language or have even met me, we are deeply grateful for that trust. I promise you, we will not break that trust, not even by an inch.
The President also explained why the people should vote for the National People's Power at the upcoming local government election.
ලේසි වැඩක් නෙවෙයි මේ උනේ. අවුරුදු 70ක් අපේ රට පාලනය කරේ. උඩ ඉන්න පවුල් කීපයක්.
For 76 years, our country was ruled by few families, generation after generation. Today, the National People's Power is governing this country. Who were the candidates in the last presidential election? From the telephone, the candidate was the president's son. From the Pohutua, the candidate was also a son of a president. From the gas cylinder, the candidate was a nephew of a president. I am from Thambuttegama. For 76 years, they held power. Fathers, wives, daughters, sons and nephews ruled this country. They were the ones who created wars. They were the ones who created corruption. They were the ones who dismantled this country. They left the people of our country without wages and livelihoods. But the people came together, dismantled the previous governments and built the National People's Power. It was a massive decision. They never believed it could happen. Now, on the 6th of May, we must give even more strength to this change. What kind of local governments do we need? A government where the state does not corrupt and neither do the local governments. A state government that works. And local governments that work as well. So, whom should we vote for? We should vote for the National People's Power.
The President also received a warm and positive response from the crowd at the rally.
එක මිටකට සුබනකකට රට අනුරට අගමුණු රට එක මිටකට සුබනකකට රට අනුරට.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya said that after all the hard work people have done to save and manage Sri Lanka's public funds, it should never be handed over to those who would steal it. She expressed these views at a National People's Power rally in Veyangoda yesterday.
The village is important to us. There are many long neglected issues within our villages that need addressing. We require a strong local team to ensure proper implementation. This is where the clean, corruption-free political culture we initiated becomes tangible for the people. We are making prudent decisions to safeguard public funds and ensure that they benefit the people. You are aware of the economic challenges we inherited. By stabilizing the economy and systematically fostering growth, we have begun to achieve economic progress. It is through careful management that we have been able to curb waste and are now in a position to redirect funds back to the public. Therefore, it is illogical and unacceptable to entrust funds allocated through our hard work and significant sacrifice in management to a few corrupt individuals. We need a Pradeshia Sabha that is truly suitable.
With less than 10 days remaining for the much anticipated local government elections, election platforms across the country are becoming increasingly heated. Political parties and candidates are intensifying their campaigns by now. We bring to you tonight's edition of Before the Ballot, highlighting the growing momentum and rising energy that now characterize the election landscape.
Before the Ballot.
What is there to be happy about? By now, all those who once advocated for the victory of the NPP have fallen silent. People no longer support the NPP in large numbers as they once did. They are struggling to find candidates to contest the upcoming local government elections, which has also left them quite disappointed. It is clear that all their hopes and dreams have been shattered. What we must tell the general public is, you have been fooled for long enough. It has been 5 months since this powerful government was formed. You regret voting for us. A government of Ranil Wickremesinghe was formed on the 8th of January in 2015. Just a month and a half from that point, the people's dreams were completely shattered. This government is just 5 months old. Have any issues arisen? The faith you placed in us with that cross has been protected. I saw in the run-up to the local government elections that a candidate under Namal Rajapaksa had shot and killed an individual. He is now in jail. A man who should observe not just the 8 precepts, but even more than that. What did they do for the LPTA Pradeshia Sabha? By now, the NPP representatives there should be able to come forward and list what they have accomplished for that area. But they have nothing to say. With 159 seats in Parliament, the executive president on their side, the governors appointed, only the LPTA Pradeshia Sabha election was held. A government that failed to deliver results for just one Pradeshia Sabha and failed to allocate funds for it will do absolutely nothing for other Pradeshia Sabhas.
දැන් මේ දවස්වල සමහර අය අහනවා ආණ්ඩුවව මොනවද කරේ කයිය ගාන විතරයි මොකද කරේ යන්නේ ජනාධිපතිවරයා තේරිපත් වෙලා දිවුරුන් දීපු පළ.
These days, we see many people asking what we have accomplished in the 5 months we've been in power. From the very moment the president was sworn in, we changed the monetary culture of the country. We ensured that not a single cent of the people's money would be wasted. And the president set the example for that. Ministers were sworn in without any celebrations. No red carpets were laid. No gun salutes were given. There were no such festivities. We introduced a new political culture. And what has that achieved? Money in the treasury is being saved. Those funds are being directed to the rural areas of this country, to hospitals and even to your plate. That is how we corrected the political culture of the country.
සුරක්ෂිත ආහාර වේලක් සඳහා ඔන්න ඕක තමයි අපි මේ දේශපාලන සංස්කෘතිය නිවැරදි කරපු හැටි.
The United Democratic Front has put forward a group of individuals from the Sinhala, Muslim and Tamil communities who are highly capable of serving the country. Among them are hundreds of engineers, former Colombo commissioners, doctors, planners, managers and accountants, all ready to follow their lead. They are prepared to serve the nation. For 74 years, these people ruled the country, switching sides whenever it was advantageous for them. The fact that roads in rural areas are only now being built, schools are being renovated, and the Samurdhi benefit is still being provided to the poor. What were they doing all this time? It is laughable. Just as Parliament was cleansed, we must now unite to cleanse all the Pradesh Sabhas as well. Forget about cleansing Parliament. The NPP is now asking for power in the Pradesh Sabhas. Just like the Kandy town was polluted during the Dalada Vandanava, this government has no alternative plans or people-centered programs. It is simply dancing to the tune of the IMF. However, there seems to be no positive outcome from them. We did not work so hard and acquire power just to lose it in 5 years. We will not let it go in 5, 10, 15 or even 20 years. It is the NPP that will rule this country, even 50 years into the future. There is no doubt about that. We will only step down once we have finished building the country you have all dreamed of. There is no question about that either. In another 2 years, by 2027, the people will be facing a situation more serious than the Arugalaya. By that time, we must have built ourselves as a party, ready to take over the country. It is the foundation for that which we are laying right now. Therefore, in this local government election, no matter who contests, cast your vote for the Pohottua and support the cause. Think about this. Almost every school has a mango tree. When the trees bear fruit, with 1 or 2 big mangoes, people throw sticks and stones to pluck them. If that doesn't work, they wait until the fruit falls from the tree. This is exactly what the opposition is doing these days. The government is not fulfilling the people's needs, and as a result, the trust the people placed in them is slowly waning. The opposition knows all the government's dirty secrets, so they are now patiently waiting for it to collapse. Ranil is also holding meetings from time to time, trying to secure the majority vote. What is Namal Rajapaksa up to? He too is waiting with his small team, ready to assume power in the country. So is Sajid Premadasa. Other small political parties are also patiently waiting. Now the government needs to understand that these people have already ruined the country. And if things continue this way, the government will be toppled by them. Shouldn't the government at least try to fulfill what they initially promised to the people? That is the only way to satisfy the people. We were given the power to govern the country for a period of 60 months. We are only 5 months in. And the opposition is already in shambles. By the end of the 60 months, you will only be able to see them in museums. No one will be around to be found. What we have achieved in just 5 months has left them all speechless. State sector employees know very well that it is under the NPP government that they received the highest salary increments in the history of the country. We resolved all issues faced by pensioners in our first budget. The fertilizer subsidy was 15,000 rupees. Now, how much is it? 25,000 rupees. The NPP government is ensuring rights, benefits and subsidies for everyone. Yet, it is about such a government that some people are spreading lies.
Before the ballot.
News First with the people.
The UN Security Council has condemned in the strongest terms the terrorist attacks in Jammu and Kashmir, stressing that those responsible should be held accountable and the organizers and sponsors of these quote-unquote reprehensible acts of terrorism should be brought to justice. A press statement is a declaration to the media made by the President of the Security Council on behalf of all 15 members of the Council.
The 15-nation UN Security Council issued a press statement on the terrorist attack in Jammu and Kashmir, in which the members condemned in the strongest terms the terrorist attack in Jammu and Kashmir on the 22nd of April, during which at least 26 people were killed and many more injured. The press statement said, quote, "The members of the Security Council underlined the need to hold perpetrators, organizers, financiers and sponsors of this reprehensible act of terrorism accountable and bring them to justice," unquote. The UN Security Council members reaffirmed that terrorism in all its forms and manifestations constitutes one of the most serious threats to international peace and security. They reiterated that any acts of terrorism are criminal and unjustifiable regardless of their motivation, wherever, whenever and by whomever committed. Indian and Pakistani troops exchanged gunfire for a second straight day as ties plummeted between the two nuclear-armed neighbours after an attack on tourists blamed on Pakistani militants killed 26 in India's Kashmir region. The Indian army said its troops responded to quote-unquote unprovoked small arms fire from multiple Pakistani army posts that started around midnight yesterday along the 740-kilometre de facto border separating the Indian and Pakistani areas of Kashmir. The Indian army said Pakistani troops had also opened up with sporadic fire around midnight on Thursday. Meanwhile, armed police and soldiers have been searching homes and forests for armed fighters in Indian Kashmir since yesterday, after Prime Minister Modi vowed to pursue the attackers to the end of the earth. India's army chief also visited Srinagar, the capital of Indian-administered Kashmir, and authorities scoured Pahalgam, the town where the attack took place.
Relations between India and Pakistan are cratering following a deadly militant attack in Indian-administered Kashmir that has sparked tit-for-tat and raised fears of another military escalation between the nuclear-armed rivals. India and Pakistan both controlled parts of Kashmir, but claim it in full and have fought 3 wars over mountainous territory. In 2019, Indian jets bombed targets inside Pakistan after a cross-border militant attack killed at least 40 Indian paramilitary personnel in its part of Kashmir. All but one of the 26 tourists massacred in the attack on Tuesday were Indian citizens. New Delhi swiftly pointed the finger at Pakistan, downgraded ties and suspended its participation in a crucial water-sharing treaty. But Pakistan has denied involvement and said that any attempt to stop or divert water belonging to Pakistan would be considered an act of war. What is the situation like today? Let's take a look.
After the attack, India and Pakistan have also unleashed a raft of measures against each other, with Pakistan closing its airspace to Indian airlines and India suspending the 1960 Indus Water Treaty that regulates water sharing from the Indus River and its tributaries. India and Pakistan have a decades-old ceasefire agreement over the disputed region of Kashmir, but their troops still exchange gunfire sporadically. The two nations both claim Kashmir and have fought 2 of their 3 wars over it. In the backdrop of the rising tensions over the Pahalgam terror incident, Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif said that Islamabad is ready for neutral investigation into the deadly terrorist attack.
On the contrary, our eastern neighbor continues a pattern of exploitation, leveling baseless allegations and false accusation without credible investigation or verifiable evidence. The recent tragedy in Pahalgam is yet another example of this perpetual blame game, which must come to a grinding halt. And now, continuing with its role as a responsible country, Pakistan is open to participate in any neutral, transparent and credible investigation. And let this message be loud and clear for all and sundry. Peace is our preference, but must not be construed as our weakness. We will and we shall never compromise on our dignity and security of our beloved Pakistan.
On the other hand, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi vowed stern action against the perpetrators and those who conspired towards the Kashmir attack.
After the recent deadly attack in Kashmir, the world is reacting with concerns and calls for peace. The UN Security Council issued a press statement in which the members condemned in strongest terms the terrorist attack in Jammu and Kashmir. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has also called on India and Pakistan to show maximum restraint to prevent further deterioration of the tense situation in the subcontinent. Today, several other world leaders and governments have also begun to respond to the situation.
Speaking to reporters on board Air Force One yesterday, the US President said India and Pakistan will figure out relations between themselves. He attempted to allay global concerns over the conflict, suggesting the two sides figure it out.
There have been tensions on that border for 1,500 years. So, same as it's been. But they'll get it figured out one way or the other. I'm sure that is. I know both leaders.
Trump's comment came after US State Department spokesperson Tammy Bruce on Thursday condemned all acts of terrorism and said that the country stood with India.
Shifting your attention to the Middle East, hundreds of people have been injured following a massive explosion and fire at the Iranian port city of Bandar Abbas, more than 1,000 kilometers south of capital Tehran. Reports suggest that the number of injuries has risen to at least 500.
Iran's customs authorities said in a statement on Saturday that the explosion occurred in the Sina container yard at the Iranian port city of Bandar Abbas, which is affiliated with the country's ports and maritime organization. Iranian state television said initial reports indicate negligence in the storage of flammable materials at the site. Director of the Hormozgan Province's Crisis Management Organization told state television that the injured have been transferred to medical facilities. He added that safety officials had previously visited the site of the incident and issued safety warnings.
Back to local news now. The Siri Dalada Vandanava, which commenced on the 18th of April, will conclude tomorrow.
The Siri Dalada Vandana, or the veneration of the sacred tooth relic of the Lord Buddha, commenced at 11 a.m. today. Devotees had the opportunity to pay homage to the sacred tooth relic until 5:30 p.m.
භාග්‍යවත් බුදුරජාණන් වහන්සේගේ වාමශ්‍රී දළදා වහාමුදුරන් වහන්සේ වැඳ පුදා ගැනීමට අපිටත් ඉතාමත්ම සංසාරය කරපු මහා පිනක ආශිර්වාදයක්
කමං ආසාවෙන් මේ දුරට පින්දි දෙන්න සාදු සාදු
ලොකු සන්තෝෂයක් තමයි දැනෙන්නේ අපි බුදුහාමුදුරුවෝ දැක්කා වගේ තමයි.
ගොඩාක් සන්තෝෂයි හැමෝටම ගොඩාක් පිං.
ඒ ඇති වුණ ප්‍රීතිය බුද්ධාලම්බන ප්‍රීතිය ඇතරම ජීවිතේ පුරා රැඳෙනවා කියලා අපි විශ්වාස කරනවා.
අද දළදා හාමුදුරුවෝ වැඳ හැමෝටම ලෙඩක් දුකක් කරදරයක් නැතුව වැඳ ගන්න ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරන ලැබේවා කියලා දළදා හාමුදුරන්ගේ පිහිටෙන්.
අපිට ළඟ අපේ ආයුෂත් අරගෙන මේව කරන්න ඉදිරියට යන්න ඕනේ.
ඇත්තටම සන්තෝෂයි ගොඩාක් පිං.
එම සන්තෝෂයි ජීවිතේ ලබන්න උලන් උතුම්ම පින්කම කරගත්ත කියලා අද හිතෙනවා.
සියලුම දෙනාට මේකට අප කැප වෙච්ච තාමත් ආදරණීය විදිහට පුණ්‍යානුමෝදනාවන් සිද්ධ කරනවා.
මේ අවස්ථාවේදී අපි දුෂ්කරතා මැද්දේ මේ බොහෝ බැතිමතුන් දුෂ්කරතා මැද්දේ ඇවිල්ලා මේ වන්දනා කර ගැනීම අත වශයෙන්ම ඔවුන්ගේ ජීවිත ලබන විශාල භාග්‍යයක් කොට සැලකනවා.
The Siri Dalada Vandana was organized at the request of President Anura Kumar Desanaika under the patronage of Chief Prelates of the Malwathu and Askari chapters and with the guidance of the Devadana Nilame of the historic temple of the Tooth Relic in Kandy. The veneration of the sacred Tooth Relic, which commenced on the 18th of April after a hiatus of 16 years, is scheduled to conclude tomorrow. A large number of devotees had the opportunity to pay homage to the sacred Tooth Relic this time. However, Devadana Nilame Pradeep Nilangadala said the period of the sacred Tooth Relic veneration will not be extended beyond tomorrow. Meanwhile, Kandy District Secretary Indikudavatta yesterday reiterated his request to the public to refrain from coming to Kandy for the veneration of the sacred Tooth Relic. He said that a large number of people are still staying in Kandy. Many people had also organized dansals to provide food and drinks for the visiting pilgrims. A group from the Tamil community from Vaunia had organized another cold water dansala. This dansala was organized last night to the pilgrims in the queues by the Old Boys Association and staff of Trinity College, Kandy. This dansala was organized by the Kandy Muslim Traders Association. Meanwhile, the Nelligal International Buddhist Center had also organized a dansala for the hundreds of thousands of pilgrims visiting Kandy these days. The Nelligala Sakya Singha Young Circle and Sri Chandrananda Buddhist College are also contributing to this meritorious deed. A decision has been reached to reopen the schools in Kandy which were closed due to the Siri Dalada Vandana in 2 phases. Central Province Chief Secretary Ajit Premasinghe said that 24 schools will be reopened next Monday. These schools were closed to minimize potential traffic congestion in the Kandy town. Another 37 schools were closed to provide accommodation and other facilities for security personnel engaged in duties for the Siri Dalada Vandana. The Central Province Chief Secretary said that these schools will be reopened next Tuesday after cleaning. The Dalada Vandana Operations Committee convened a media briefing in Kandy today.
We conducted a review regarding the issue that arose due to the large influx of people into Kandy. The conclusion we reached was that we needed to carry out a Clean Kandy project to restore the cleanliness of the Kandy town. Tomorrow, the exposition of the sacred Tooth Relic will conclude at 5:30 p.m. From that moment onwards, we will commence the project. We aim to complete the Clean Kandy project by the evening of the 28th.
Clean Kandy ව්‍යාපෘතිය අවසන් කරන්නට
One person was injured in a shooting that took place early this morning in Heenatiana, Katunayaka.
The shooting incident was reported at about 5:35 a.m. while he was asleep at his home. His father was also at the house at the time. The victim is a 29-year-old resident of Heenatiana. According to the police, 2 unidentified gunmen opened fire using a T-56 firearm. Newsfirst correspondent reported that the injured victim was initially admitted to the Minwangoda Base Hospital for treatment and was later transferred to the Gampa General Hospital.
A special screening of the film Nidane was held yesterday at the Alliance Francaise de Colombo to commemorate the 106th birth anniversary of iconic filmmaker Dr. Lester James Pires.
An event to commemorate the 106th birth anniversary of Dr. Lester James Pires was organized by the Lester James Pires and Sumitra Pires Foundation in partnership with the French Embassy in Sri Lanka. The event held yesterday was attended by diplomats, foundation members and family.
Many films have been destroyed beyond redemption. Nidane was restored in 2013 by the Film Foundation World Cinema Project and the Cinetica di Bologna. The restored version's premiere was at the Venice Film Festival in 2013. For the first time, the restored version was screened in Sri Lanka with the restoration process that revitalizes old films by scanning their original film elements, repairing damage and enhancing the image and sound for more immersive, high-quality viewing experience.
Showing heritage movies matters. The safeguarding cinematic heritage is not simply about showing and protecting. It's not simply about protecting old reels. It's about preserving culture, memory, identity, and showing films. Because films are works of art that touch and move us, but they're also time capsules, witnesses of an era and of a society. This is precisely what France, together with our partners in India and in Sri Lanka, is committed to doing.
Nidanaya, one of Dr. Piris's most acclaimed films, continues to inspire filmmakers and cinema lovers in Sri Lanka and beyond.
Governor of the Western Province, Hanif Yusuf, emphasized that while Sri Lanka has made strong progress in recovering from its worst economic crisis 3 years ago, lasting change requires addressing deep-rooted political and moral failures. He expressed these views at the 26th Asia-Pacific Secretaries' Congress that is currently underway in Colombo.
The 26th Asia-Pacific Secretaries Congress, or the ASA Congress, is being held in Colombo, hosted by the Sri Lanka Association of Administrative and Professional Secretaries. It is being held under the theme, Empowering Diversity Beyond Borders.
We endured our worst economic crisis 3 years ago. Since then, Sri Lanka has embarked on a comprehensive program of economic reform that I must say has successfully helped our economy to turn around. However, while much has been done to get us out of economic bankruptcy, we also have gone through a crisis for 75 years, as always been said. Our economic issues did not arise in a vacuum. We must and now acknowledge the political and few moral failures that dust the year. Following the election of our new president and government last year, Sri Lanka is now fixing the root causes and reforming the systems that will enable us, hopefully, to take hold. We have acknowledged that economic progress means nothing, actually means nothing, in the absence of social and ethical decay.
Secretaries are often unsung heroes who make sure that a business is conducted very smoothly. And in many ways, they are also serving as the backbone of a company, making sure that these organizations have a smooth conduct, a smooth business operation, and it's on track. Now, this week, Sri Lanka is proud to host the 26th ASA Congress in Colombo, almost after 20 years, right here in our mother country.
Today is day one of the 26th Asia-Pacific Secretaries Congress. The Congress brought together around 350 delegates from 12 countries from across the Asia-Pacific region. The keynote speech today was delivered by Siobhan Daniel. The highlight of the event is a series of sessions running from the 26th to the 29th of April, led by key figures from several major industries. Today's session featured Peter de Almeida and Asanga de Mel.
The inaugural Media Fest organized by the Sri Lanka India Media Friendship Association was officially launched in Colombo. This is Sri Lanka's first ever Media Fest, bringing together experts to explore AI in journalism, media monetization, data journalism and more.
The first ever Media Fest organized by Sri Lanka India Media Friendship Association was jointly inaugurated in Colombo by Acting High Commissioner of India to Sri Lanka Dr. Satyanjal Pandey and the Minister of Mass Media Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa. The two-day Media Fest is being held under the theme Navigating the New Media Landscape Together.
The face of journalism and media, including its business and survival rationale, is undergoing a massive transformation. The interface of AI and technology with media is only beginning to express itself. The traditional print and AV media is coming under sharp stress and scrutiny against the agility of new age media. Strengthening media and journalism capacities has been one of our focus areas of cooperation.
This festival will undoubtedly shape the future of media in our region and beyond. The rapid advancement of technology, the rise of digital platforms, and shifting audience consumption patterns present both challenges and opportunities. Our response to these changes will determine the future of media and its role in our societies. The Sri Lankan government unequivocally recognizes the vital role of a free, responsible, and vibrant media in sustaining a democratic society. We firmly believe that a well-informed citizenry is the cornerstone of a strong and resilient nation.
The Media Fest features keynote, panel discussions, breakout sessions and networking opportunities.
The stage is set. The excitement is rising and the search for Sri Lanka's next singing sensation is officially underway. Auditions kicked off in Trincomalee, setting the tone for an unforgettable musical journey.
Shakti Crown.
Shakti Crown Season 2 auditions continue today, bringing excitement and strong performances from all around. Today's stop was Trincomalee, where hopeful contestants came forward, each one giving their best in front of the judges.
நெஞ்சத்துல கடலளவு ஆசமச்சான் அளவு ஏதும் இல்ல அதுதான் காதல் மச்சான் ஐயோடி ஐயோடி மயங்கி மடியினில் பூக்கவா எம்மாடி எம்மாடி நீ தொடங்க தொலைந்திடவா இழந்ததை மீட்கவா இரவலும் கேட்கவா.
The search continues in the days ahead as Shakti Crown Season 2 travels across the island, looking for fresh talent ready to take their voice to the world stage.
Shakti Crown.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News for tonight. Thank you for joining us. Good night.